Welcome everyone, Adam the Woo here. It's my second channel, daily blog channel, TheDailyWoo. It's a dreary, overcast morning. It was raining a little while ago here in Lexington, Kentucky. I'm in this cemetery here, very somber area. It's actually a pretty fantastic cemetery. It's very large. It has some pretty incredible monuments and gravestones. This is just a small portion, very small portion of the cemetery. It stretches way, way out there. I don't know how many acres it is, but it's very large. The main reason I'm here is to pay my respects to one of my childhood idols. His name was Jim Varney. He played the character that you probably know as Ernest, but he was also much more than that. He was also a Shakespearean actor and played a lot of other different roles. And to me, as a child, he was definitely an influence on what I thought was funny and helped mold what I considered entertainment into my adult life. So I'm going to try to find his grave and pay my respects to the late, great Jim Varney. You'll see there's a bridge over here, this covered white bridge with the green tarp over the top of it. Not really a tarp so much as it is just like AstroTurf type greenery. If you cross over that, supposedly Jim Varney's grave is going to be on the other side of it. I remember when I was a child, 1983-84, Jim Varney started doing the Ernest commercials. And I used to watch every one of them. I remember we would rent videos from the video store, and they would have all those commercials on there, hundreds of them, and we would watch them. I wore those tapes out. This place whereon thou now standeth is holy ground. Try to act reverently. You're on God's acre. I can't imagine anyone coming out here and not showing respect to all these people who passed away. Every person has a memory, and people that hold what their life stood for very deeply. And all these people are very important. But for me right now, I definitely want to see Jim Varney's grave. So let's find it. This looks like this is more of the newer area of the cemetery. A lot of the old school graves are way back over there. I believe it's right up here, everyone. Yep, this is it. I believe his family are all buried right in here. This was his father's grave. His dad was also named James Varney. Of course, he took on the name Jim, but his father was James. Jim Varney was also James, but for entertainment purposes, for the credits and whatnot, he always called himself Jim Varney. But that's his dad's grave right there. He died in 1985. He only had one son, and that son was this guy right here, Mr. Jim Varney. I always wanted to meet him when I was a kid. Unfortunately, he passed away in the year 2000 at the age of 50. He was 50 years old when he died of lung cancer. He was diagnosed with lung cancer, and he actually put a video, an Ernest video, you can probably find it on YouTube, of him critiquing and criticizing Vern, the character of Vern, that everyone knew and loved, for smoking and how he shouldn't smoke. And he was doing that trying to get people, kids and adults that watch his videos, not to smoke, to follow in his path, but it was a little too late, and he passed away shortly after that in the year 2000. So that's my childhood idol right there. How ironic is there's cigarettes on the ground here. I'm not sure if that was an homage or what that exactly was, but it's kind of heartbreaking to be standing here. But even though his body is down below, his spirit definitely lives on through me and probably thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of other people. A lot of people saw him as a goofy, corny guy, but I really kind of took it to heart. He's a very humble man. If you watch interviews of him, I think there's an interview of him on Good Morning America, and one of the Good Morning America cast is interviewing him. He's a very humble guy. One thing I really respected about him when he started his career is that they pretty much never marketed themselves to large cities. It was always small cities So all the Ernest commercials, hundreds and hundreds, I think there was 800 or 900 of them if I'm right, I might be wrong. Maybe you could look that up for me. But out of all those hundreds of commercials, none of them were in major markets. No big cities. It was a grassroots thing. He just kind of blew up because basically he was hilarious. People related to him, and I related to him. Let's take a closer look at his gravestone here. People put coins, pennies and dimes and nickels right there paying their respects. I'm not really sure what that means, but I've actually created my own respect here. I've actually written this note for him, and you'll see there's a penny right on the bottom, just like everybody else has left their penny. And I'm going to pay my respects here. I'm just going to perch it in this flower, hopefully it'll stay. That might not work. Maybe I'll put it here in this flower. Hopefully you guys can read it. Definitely not the usual daily blog I do, but this has a big influence on my life, and probably part of the reason I'm doing these vlogs and creating the YouTube channel and all that in some way, shape, or form stemmed from that guy right there. So rest in peace, Jim Varney. I'm a little emotional right now, so I'm going to let you go. And remember, if you subscribed up here, I'm definitely going to see you tomorrow. So make sure you subscribe up here. And go on YouTube and watch some Jim Varney clips, especially the old Ernest stuff, the mid-'80s stuff. It's classic. The guy was a genius. Rest in peace, buddy.